What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Barefoot Garage. Today, I'm going to show you a 914 upgrade you probably didn't know you needed for your brake system. Alright, so I do not claim to be a brake expert on the 914. My system that I have in the car is a 19mm easy install from 914 rubber, and everything else is stock. We'll probably put some braided lines on in the future, but what my issue is something that I've actually noticed in putting these master cylinders, I think I've done 4 or 5 now, into other cars, is no matter how nice the master cylinder is and how well you bleed it, when you push the brake pedal, the master cylinder has a little bit of flex. And so there's a cool kit from Tangerine Racing called the Master Cylinder Install Brace that we're going to put into my car tonight. So as you guys can tell, my car has plenty of rubber. This is actually a front tire. It's probably twice as wide as the stock front 914 tires, and so I get a lot of braking pressure, but I have a huge amount of coefficient of friction with the ground, so it really works the braking system pretty hard. I should probably upgrade it in the future, but for now I'm sticking 4-lug. I'm sticking with the stock stuff. I've already rebuilt my calipers, and I'm just now going to put some rotors on the back after one stuck and kind of warped a little bit. So this job requires a couple of tools. Let's take a look at what it takes. All right, you need some way to jack up your car, some way to remove the wheels, and something under there to support your car. You are going to need a welder. This is my trusty Miller 130 XP. It is from the 90s and it works excellent. Eyes and ears, something to grind with, something to paint with, probably some light, a 13 mil and a 19 mil. So we're going to go into the car and we're going to show you how to pull that belly tray off. And then we're going to go into why this happens, and I'll show you how the master cylinder flex actually works and why it does that. It's just because of the way the car was built, and then how we're going to fix that problem. Cool little part for a solution that we all have on our 914s. Doesn't matter what you've done with it. It's a good way to get a little bit more structural rigidity out of your car. All right, so we are under the 914 and we need to remove this protective tray if your car has it. There's a 13 here, there's a 13 there, and there is a 19 right here. So when I get that tray off, I've only jacked up one side, which should be sufficient, and I've got my jack stand right on the end of the adjustment for the front suspension and control arm. So we're gonna go ahead and pop that guy off, and then I'll show you what's happening with the master cylinder. All right, I take back what I said. It's a 13 and a 17. All right, we are underneath the car and it is quite hard to film. So right now I am facing the back of the car and you were looking towards the front. We're gonna go up and I'm gonna show you master cylinder. Mine has been here for quite a while, so it's got a little surface rust on it. Ignore the fact that the brake warning switch isn't hooked up and anything else that you see that's not correct. So what we're dealing with is this is just pinched on basically 2 pieces of sheet metal here. When you push the brake pedal, it's going to do this, flex down. It's not going to flex that much, but I'm going to get the camera set up with a little bit of light as best as possible here. We are going to show you what's happening when I go inside the car and push the brake pedal. All right, watch the master cylinder in relation to this bar right here. You'll see it doing this action. So I'm going to go inside and stomp on the brake pedal. All right, so as you can see, that was honestly just my hand. You can see the flex there. So the goal with this product is to use the suspension bar and use a couple of bolts and create a wedge against the master cylinder, hold it nice and tight in place, and to translate all your movement into braking action and none of it into flex in the car. All right, so this is the best camera angle that I can come up with underneath the car. So what's gonna happen here is this brace is actually going to go in place in between this and this. And so you can see these bolts heads have been ground at an angle so that they go up under there. So what I really need to do is loosen up these lock nuts. Let me go ahead and loosen this bolt here and loosen the other lock nut. And we'll go ahead and slide those bolts back. And that way, this can go. You guys can see where it's supposed to go in here. So we're going to go ahead and get that guy in something fashion like this. We'll double check what's going on with the instructions. But our first step is going to be to go ahead and locate everything, make sure it's happy and that it is working. And then we are going to go ahead and grind off our couple of spots here, tack those in place, pull the thing out, fully weld that bolt. All right, so I've got my areas prepped here. Our brace is going to go in like this. I assume this little kind of locating tang kind of sits right there. That seems to make the most sense. So one side has a hole, one side has a slot, so you can tack it, swing it down, swing it up, and do it in place. One thing to notice is that on this side, where this one's going to sit, that nylock nut needs to be on there before you weld it, or you are going to be cutting it off. So basically that's why that one has a slide, so it can slide up in here. You want the washer on the inside, or what I'm going to call the inside here, like that, so that it has a little bit of way to spin. So that's what that's going to look like here. I pretty much know where I'm going to tack these in place, but my goal is going to be to put it on here, hold it, tack it, take it out, and then we'll burn it all the way in. So let's get to welding. All right, and that is how it is mocked up in place. So I don't have all the nuts and everything on here, but you can see how the master cylinder can push against this and it cannot flex down in this direction at all. So it is going to need to get painted, and it is, honestly, it's super hot. So I'm going to put the nuts on there and kind of tighten it up, and we'll take a look at how much flex it has, and then I'll call it a night with there, and we'll blow it apart, paint it, and get the car back on the road. All right, the brace is in. Let's tighten these two, push it out, tighten these two to lock it in place. This one I got a little bit of a weird angle, so I kind of had to tighten it and then knock it up in place. It is very tight against the master cylinder, so let's jump in the car and see how the flex is. Much better. All right, guys, that's where we're going to end off for tonight. I can tell a noticeable difference. I did the brake pedal both times with my hand, and it feels a lot firmer. So I'm super stoked about that. I think it's like 65, 75 bucks, something like that. Under 100 bucks, easy mod. You are going to need a welder, and you need to be comfortable welding on your car. So I'm going to pull this apart, throw a little paint on it, let it dry overnight, putting this thing back, and we'll have the 914 back on the road with a little bit of brake improvement. So as always, stay tuned to the Barefoot Garage right here on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button or tell us what you're working on for your 914 so we can do more 914 videos. In between episodes, Barefoot Garage Jacks over on Instagram. Have lots of stuff going on and other projects that are coming in the future for you guys to check out. See you next time.